Super Bowl recently just happened, and as a non-American, I have to admit I was not mega involved in it, but congrats to the Philadelphia Sports Club for their ludicrous display on that night. The talk of 2018 Super Bowl was all about this kid on his phone while Justin Timberlake was singing next to him. Absolutely terribly boring stuff. Nothing like the 2004 Super Bowl, which combined two of the greatest things on God's green earth, sport and breasts. The Nipplegate controversy was seen as one of the biggest kerfuffles we've had in recent times. I suppose if we were trying to one-up that in terms of kerfuffleness or general mess-ups, the Hawaii missile scare that happened in January earlier this year was probably a bit more up there. Someone legitimately fat-fingered their way into causing widespread nuclear-induced panic. On the Richter scale of fuck-ups, that man's job was like Pompeii in 79 AD. I honestly thought that couldn't be matched, but then, in February 6th, 2018. What the fuck is this? Pathfinder's knife. Basically, all existing jungle items are removed, they're made extinct, and this is the only thing left. It's like a blue smite because you can slow people, but sort of like green smite 2, except it's pink ward instead of standard wards, and on top of that, counter jungling refreshes that pink ward stack. So yeah, I guess I just wanted to make a video giving you guys my opinion and showing you this. So let's start by talking about the item in general. Obviously, the most interesting thing about this is that you get the reward for counter jungling, right? The control ward stack. It's nice that you're being incentivized to counter jungle because, you know, that's aggressive play. It's always nice, in my opinion, when you are rewarded for aggressive plays because that makes the game a bit more interesting. However, I'm not really sold on that reward being getting an extra pink ward. I mean, you can only get one pink ward down at any given time anyway, and as a jungler, you should really always have a pink ward down. So I guess the question is, do you need to replace the ward that you've got down every time that you come out of spawn, because you're already getting a stack coming out of spawn, right? On top of then also getting use out of getting an extra pink ward by counter jungling too. Like, are your pink wards getting destroyed that much? Like, are you just slapping them down in the middle of lanes? Or are you actually going to actively move them around all the time? To be honest, I think the answers to both those questions are not really. Besides, in my personal opinion, more vision is not so good because it promotes less aggressive plays. Like, I'm not really sure if I like throwing more vision into the ring a little bit. I always like to use the example of back in the day before there were trinkets, I felt a lot more at liberty to do invades and do cheeky ganks and stuff like that, because there wasn't just as much vision knocking about like there is today. But honestly, I guess the overall sentiment that I get when I look at Pathfinder's knife is this. Why? Like, just generally why? Like, why is Riot thinking about this? Why has Riot done this? Like, why is this a thing? I mean, are there problems with the existing jungle items? I don't really think so. I mean, no one really complains about them. I mean, if you want to make an argument, you could say, like, Red Smite doesn't really have too much counterplay. If you come up against someone who has Red Smite, you're going to get your ass kicked by them, so then you're kind of forced to get it as well. And, you know, I guess you could make the argument. Green Smite, if you're a pro player, you're probably sick of buying that all the bloody time, but you're a jungler and pro play, so what do you expect? Like, why are we getting rid of all the jungle items as well? Like, is diversity a bad thing? Usually when you're removing loads of options and, like, trimming that down, it's because there's, like, an illusion of choice. Like, it seems like there are lots of options, but really there's only one because there's only one good option. But in this case, it's not really how it is, honestly, because all the jungle items are good. You could go any single one. I actually feel like the jungle items are pretty well balanced and diverse by themselves. I guess it's just that question, like, why force junglers into one choice? Is it bad that they're having this choice? I'm not sure. You could argue, was it even necessary to get rid of all the other jungle items and just, you know, couldn't you just slap this one on the end? Obviously, you'd have to tweak it a bit because it's basically blue smite, but you know what I mean? I mean, you could definitely make that kind of argument, just have like a standalone counter jungling jungle item. Personally, I wouldn't necessarily recommend that because anytime you buy a counter jungling jungle item, you're basically telegraphing yourself and telegraphing your playstyle to the enemy jungler saying, listen mate, look at my item. I'm going to be nicking your jungle camps. Hope you don't mind. So yeah, I'm just a little bit confused really about why this is a thing. But it wouldn't be fair to just complain without offering solutions. So my humble opinion here as to better alternatives to what this is right now. Firstly, instead of adding a separate item or getting rid of all of them and just putting in a new one, why don't you just add that control ward element, the counter jungling element, to all of the existing jungle smites? So you really have to get rid of the blue smite, green smite, red smite. Can't you just maybe like enhance them if you wanted to do that? Secondly, and this one's a little bit more out there, okay guys, so bear with me, see what you think about this one. Why don't you actually do something different to incentivize counter jungling rather than the control ward thing, which I'm not really sold on as a concept? So here's my armchair game developer suggestion, right? Why don't you empower the jungle item's identity, so to speak, whenever you take an enemy jungle camp? So specifically, what I mean by that is whenever you've done a bit of counter jungling, the next time you red smite the enemy jungler, it will do a little bit more damage. The next time you blue smite an enemy champion, the slow will be a little bit more intense. Maybe when you've got green smite as well, you'll get an extra ward or something like that. I mean, I know I was talking about how warding is problematic, but yeah, I mean, you know what I mean. Or thirdly, and this one's a little bit even more out there, why don't you just leave it alone? If that ain't broke, don't fix it. I mean, it's fine as it is. So that's all I really want to say on the new jungle item and the change I guess the jungle is going in. Potentially, this is all on the PBE, right guys? So nothing's set in stone here. I hope you've enjoyed meeting the Pathfinder's knife. Let me know what you thought about them down below in the comments. I'm not a big fan of them, but maybe you think it's a great idea. But either way, that's all from me. Thanks for watching the video. Like it if you like to, subscribe if you want to see more. Go follow me on Twitter. I'll put a link to that in the description. I don't know what that accent was, but either way, thanks so much for watching, guys. Have a fantastic day, and I will see you in my next video.